Mother sings lullabies, baby sleeps, moonlight sheens, still waters calm and deep, tranquil earth spins into the dreams of space. All is peace in our universe of grace. Breath of life, singing softly its endless song. Stream of life, sparkling river where all belong. Fountain life, overflowing the deeps of space. All is life in our universe of grace. See with me a world where joy and peace and beauty grow, a world we can know. Share with me a song of worlds of love and harmony, worlds we can be, we can be. Loving thoughts, gentle weaving of loving minds, soft and warm, spreading over all humankind. Warming hearts open out to life's embrace. All is one in our universe of grace. All is peace. We just heard a song by Kathi and Milenko Matanovic called All Is, and we are talking tonight with Miccio Zmuir, who is, I forget your position now, with the Foundation for Human Unity.
I'm regional coordinator at the moment,
Yes.
representing perhaps a few, but still many in regards to human unity in the Kootenays.
Good. And how are the Matanoviches connected with your organization?
Well, the Matanoviches were traveling in a fundraising capacity, and prior to the Human Unity Council, which was held in July of 1981 in Vancouver, they performed around the world, and now are in that same capacity of fundraising for the Foundation of Human Unity, which was struck after the council was over. They are currently on a tour of British Columbia, and will be in Kelowna and then here in Nelson on March the 11th. And immediately after that, a whizzing tour down to New York.
Really?
Yes.
And they're actually from Findhorn in Scotland.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Findhorn for people who don't know it.
Okay. I don't have any direct experience with Findhorn,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know of them, and I have met several who have lived in the community, so I might be able to share some of those experiences with you.
Good.
Peter and Elaine Kathi initiated the community in Findhorn, which is in Scotland, and out of a meager start, something grand grew with, you may have heard of the famous large gardens, perhaps one aspect only of Findhorn, but something of a community, of a spirit was initiated by these two that grew into what you might call a light community, a center of light. And in this same way, I think Kathi and do represent that. They represent that you might call them light bearers through their music. And as well as the connection through Findhorn, they connect many other light centers around the world. And they come by many names, but I think they still have the same spirit and the same agreement.
Right. Describe these gardens here. They're really quite amazing.
Yes. In harmony with nature, many things happen. And you may have heard of some stories with regards to various divas. They do help to focus the garden, so to speak. And perhaps anyone who is in tune with nature, or firstly in tune with themselves, can provide a right focus for the garden, for the earth. The larger garden is the earth. And I think this is what we're talking about now, more than just a small garden in Findhorn, is how we can offer that kind of focus. One doesn't always need a green thumb to make squashes grow 3 feet tall. And with the right mineral content, and I understand that the type of composting of seaweed and the particular kind of soil that is available around a seaside made wonders in regards to providing the right trace minerals and so on, and that helps too. But
Right.
First of all, there were people who had a communication, perhaps, but also an agreement, and as well connected up.
Approximately how many people are there at Findhorn now?
I really couldn't tell you how many there are now. I do know that the community has changed in many ways. For instance, Peter is now, I believe, in Australia, and Elaine is in another capacity, and as well as Peter's secretary has been traveling and now lives in Canada. So many changes for that community, and rightly so, because many changes moving in regards to spiritual focuses, how we can most effectively be useful, perhaps somewhere like across the world to Australia, and so on.
How are they supporting themselves or the community?
I think I probably can't answer that either, because it's perhaps I can speak about other communities that I know that do work together. You might make an analogy to how Jesus was able to feed the multitudes, with so very little. I think it's sharing. And perhaps that might be the essence of how a community that works successfully in that everyone there is to give and to offer something of themselves. And so much can be done with little. So I might just offer that as the essence of it, rather than knowing exactly what the function is of the economy and so on.
However, out of that community came the new Troubadors, I believe, which
Yes.
Kathi and Milenko were a part of.
Yes.
Tell us something about them.
The most that I can say about them is what they represent as far as leaders in their own right with the art of music.
Mm-hmm.
They represent something for the world in music, and they, you might say, are avant-garde in that way, in that more than just the sounds of music, there's present a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
That, I would say, is very important to anyone who is in the art field, as well as musicians.
Mm-hmm.
That they offer something in the spirit of their words that goes beyond the words. And I believe the interview that will be aired later with them, they also say that, you know, the music transcends nations, languages, and perhaps concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I would say, is the more of what I know about them.
But they are coming to Nelson on March 11th.
Yes.
Tell us when and where and how we can get tickets, that kind of thing.
Okay. We're able to bring them, as I say, because they're traveling through the Kootenays, and they will be playing at the Trafalgar Performing Arts Centre on Thursday evening at 7:30, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And tickets are available only through downtown ticket outlets. We will not be able to sell any at the door. The irregular outlets such as Sutherland's, Cutler's, and Jarrett's will be able to provide you with tickets.
And what are the price?
At $5 a
$5.
piece. Yes. And I might just mention that the proceeds are to be sent in support of the foundation. So we're not utilizing them locally, although certainly all of the expenses that will be incurred will be taken care of.
Right. What sort of projects does the Foundation for Human Unity have going right now?
That's a good question. There's several of them that are worthy of mentioning. One is that they will be supporting the 8th International Human Unity Council, and it will be in July in Brazil this year. There's also a World Hunger Project. There are projects to do with the pollution of the earth. They're also preparing for another council in England in 2 years' time. The foundation will take responsibility and focus for that council, which will be the 9th council. And amongst many, I think the various speakers that were present at the council in Vancouver really was indicative of the sharing and the friendship that is developing throughout the earth. As George Emery, who was the coordinator of the council, was saying that there are many organs, and what we need to do is sense how we fit into the body, so that we don't compete with each other in regards to trying to, gather in a flock of people to belong to one group or another. It's more of a family, and a family of the earth. I don't think I'll mention the names of the various people there, but the essence of it was that they were communities, and they were men and women who focused that spirit. And the communities, as I mentioned before, are light communities. And I like that word because Findhorn initiated that term.
Right. How can people get in touch with you if they want more information about the foundation or the concert?
There are some telephone numbers on some of the pamphlets that have been circulated, and if anybody would like to call me personally, I certainly will share some time with them at 3544938.
Okay, thanks very much for coming in, talking with us. And now we'll show an interview that was done before the Human Unity Council in Vancouver last year with Kathi and Milenko Matanovic. worlds are going to grow from the seeds of love. I want to know.
Listen, listen, humanity, what kind of world is your destiny? Is it a world of love and peace, or a world where a man is a memory? Shatter your cold and wintry shell, reach for the sun and grasp it well. Let the light without find the light within. From the seeds of man, new worlds begin. Springtime, now time, made your birth. Let the human heart recreate the earth. One world, one life, growing to be a cosmic sea in infinity. Shatter your cold and wintry shell, reach for the sun and grasp it well. Let the light without find the light within. From the seeds of man, new worlds begin. Earth seed, woman seed, human race, planted on earth, dancing through space. What kind of worlds are going to grow from all our seeds? I want to know. I want to know.
We've just heard Kathi and Milenko Matanovic, a lovely song entitled Earthseed. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My guests tonight, Kathi and Milenko Matanovic, who are touring throughout North America, singing. They've been part of the new Troubadors from Findhorn and recently been singing on their own. It's a pleasure to have you here in Vancouver.
Thank you.
I enjoyed your music. It's quite unique. Maybe you could just take a few minutes. What do you feel you're conveying in your music as you travel?
Well, I think that music is just another form of communication, obviously. Sometimes words get in the way. Someone might be trying to communicate something, and the ideas may clash with someone else's ideas. And music has a way of dissolving those barriers, we've found. And in whatever educational work we do, we find that somehow the music is something which makes it cement itself, I think, more in people's minds and hearts.
So you feel your purpose in communicating through music is to communicate above words and more in an abstract sense?
Oh.
Music is different than words are.
Yeah.
Words are the result of our concepts about our world. We only have words for things that we have experienced. Music can bypass that conceptual part of our being and go straight to the heart, if you want to put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
The notes do not demand any understanding in order to be heard, but the words do. So there is a difference between music and words.
Mm-hmm.
If I can give an example, in Scotland, where we began, the neighboring villages were a little bit suspicious about the ideas of human unity or transformation in the world, and we could find a relationship with them until we began singing, making up our own songs and so forth, or singing traditional folk songs and bringing them to the neighboring villages. And that was a way of, the Scottish people love music, and so it was a way of joining with them above and beyond and through ideas which might separate us. And so we've just found that music is a good tool to use.
But to answer further your question, on top of that, we do seek to communicate certain vision and certain spirit through our work, whether it's musical work or other types of work that we do, which has is based on few fundamental concepts or ideas. We see that our world is changing drastically and that most people are at the mercy of that change. They are the victims of that change. So we put considerable attention to anything that would empower people to cease to be victims and become co-creators with this change. We see this change pretty much springing up from the creativity of our human race, but also from creativity of the planet as a whole. And there is a dialogue going on, I think, between growth processes of nature and us humans. And we want to promote anything that says that the dialogue does not need to end in conflict, but in a graceful relationship. So we promote consciously certain images of the whole planet, of a human race that can coexist in peace, that can learn to live with nature in ways that do not exploit it, and learn about spirituality in a way that is non-denominational, does not demand from people to subscribe to anything but their inner knowing of who they are.
You mentioned that you started some of this at Findhorn, which is an intentional community in Scotland. Right. Were you singing prior to that, or did you just find you began to sing and provide a message for the world? Was that how it happened?
Well, Kathi worked with the theater before she came to Findhorn, and I off and on got involved in the music, but we never, either of us, functioned as creators of our own songs and performers of original songs. So that step we took at Findhorn.
And there was a musical group which you were a part of?
Yeah, we started the group along with several others. And now we just pretty much work on our own, primarily because it's very hard. We're all stretched as it is in various activities. It's very hard to find time for rehearsals and everything that's required from a musical group. And since we're also married to each other, it seems to be easier for us to find that time.
Yes. And you've been traveling throughout North America, doing the occasional concert for the Human Unity Conference, which is going to be held here in Vancouver.
That's right. We have traveled to various parts of the country for other reasons, but when we went there, Human Unity Councils contacted us and asked us if we want to get involved with their programs. So we did quite a number of performances for them.
Now, in your travels, a number of people who I have interviewed indicate that there is something changing in human consciousness. You've been traveling. What do you feel is happening in the world? You've traveled throughout North America. You've traveled throughout Europe, England. What's going on? Can you put your finger on it?
It's such a vast subject. I'm searching for a simple answer to a complex question. I think that what is happening is that more and more people realize that the habits and assumptions with which we functioned so far are non-inviting to a positive future. They realize that there is an end in sight for certain of our habits. And there are big fractions of our society that are afraid of the changes that such habit change would produce. And those are what I would consider the pessimistic aspects of our society. What you're referring to, I think, is a slice of humanity that is realizing that those changes do not need to be changes that will end in fear, but can be very creative, highly joyful learning processes where we learn to start honoring our dignity and dignity of other forms of life. And there is certain joy in rediscovery, perhaps, of those concepts which our industrial age has somehow shoved on the side. Mm-hmm. And I think the optimism and vitality of those people is highly encouraging.
So some people are considering the basic premises of living. Is this what might be another way of saying it?
Yeah. I think they are questioning the habits, the automatic ways we live our lives, and saying maybe some of the ways we conduct our lives are not appropriate. Let us find more appropriate ways. And issues like loss of community, human community. This country has allowed itself for television, nothing personal, and a car to come between human beings often. Neighborhoods are not what they used to be because we have an illusion of safety of our privacy. We can always withdraw into our own lives. The loss, however, was tremendous. Loss of human interaction and authenticity of what can happen when people meet together.
Yes.
I think this country and this culture at large, the Western culture especially, suffers from that loss. We suffer from a sense of dignity in what our work is, for example. Most people execute somebody else, the ideas that somebody else created. So in some ways we live in a politically free society, but doing things that are really not freeing to us as individuals. We look at nature that we're polluting and exploiting. We see many things that we have foolishly allowed to happen. So the slice of the society that we are referring to is that slice that says those changes have or those habits are bad, but let's not be angry about them. Let's not allow to go into pessimistic habits now because of it. Let's instead invoke to ourselves creativity and vitality and ingenuity to find ways that would be appropriate to these challenges. And I think there is a lot of hope.
In other words, let's not protest, but let's do something more creative than that.
That's right. Let's become solutions rather than problems. And that takes considerable amount of search in one's own heart, what is right. It takes courage to implement what we found through our inner quests. It takes courage to communicate that with others and start building communities of thought, if not of actual neighborhoods, and start building houses and roads and cities differently, and start paying attention to our trees and whales and dolphins and all the little creatures in the world.
So you're also saying, I think, that you find a certain optimism that there are people who are facing these questions.
I feel, traditionally there is always few people that stand at the beginning of profound historic transformations.
Yeah.
And I look around and I see more than few people who are determined to make our world work better than it has, not only for humans but for the world itself. And in that way, Kathi and I and others with whom we work share very much with the philosophy of American Indians, who say whatever decision we are making, let's consider 7 generations that will follow us, and let's create a political situation where political leaders do not only lead people, but are custodians of life at large. And we want to see how we can empower that kind of thinking and bring it back into the mainstream of our society. So coming back to your original question about songs, yes, we want to promote certain ideas more than others.
And so you use music as one way of doing this.
Yes.
And obviously people love your music. Your tapes and other things have sold around the world. You're conveying that essence. Most music doesn't. But you are deliberately setting out to convey a certain message through your music.
And as such, we see ourselves less as entertainers and more as educators, musical educators. And we educate also through lectures and workshops, and we work with a non-profit educational organization. So we're pretty much consciously saying we will empower that kind of thinking and stand behind it in whatever way. When we sing, we'll do it through singing. When we talk, we'll do it through talking.
Yes, and so you use both talking and singing together.
Right.
Yes.
And do other many little things, like we have 2 children, try to honor them. Not a simple task.
Well, obviously you two share a beautiful relationship. It comes out beautifully on television, seeing the interaction between you. And presumably you want to convey that to other people. We don't have much time left, but I know you convey it through your music. when you do speak, you use a title called The Mundane Made Sacred, which I suppose is what you've just been telling me in these few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a practical reason for doing what you are doing when you travel.
We hope there is, yes.
Yeah.